Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dr. Dan. I wanted to take this video to walk you guys through our small group training facility called Beat Fitness, located in Wexford, PA. First and foremost, I'm a chiropractor. I spend most of my days treating acute and chronic injuries that people develop from repetitive stress injuries, sitting too much at the computer nowadays, not stretching enough, not exercising enough, and this post-COVID lifestyle that we're facing. We wanted to invite you guys in to check out our facility to have a better understanding of what it is that we do. So our primary focus is proper technique, proper posture, proper form, and proper body weight movements before you get into any weighted exercises here. We use a wide variety of equipment ranging from dumbbells to kettlebells. We do some Olympic lifting. We have a nice cardio setup with rowers, skiers, and a true form manual power treadmill. We also use hyperbaric whole body vibration machines that help to reduce injury, promote circulation, and balance your body and your posture out. So we do a number of exercises. The thing that I'm holding here is an RMT club. One of our staple exercises is learning how to get into a figure 8 type pattern to help heal and optimize movement through the shoulders, the spine, the hips, the knees, and the whole way down into the feet. We teach a wide variety of functional fitness exercises that are going to help you to build strong core muscles, a nice mobile, healthy spine, set of shoulders and hips, so that you can increase your longevity for life. We aren't going to push you to lift too much weight if your technique or your form are off balance. Our first goal is to help you understand how to reduce injury in your body and promote optimal movement. I welcome you guys in to check out our facility. If you have any questions, you can call the number on the website or that's listed below, and we can answer any questions. We'd love to have you in for a tour. Thank you and have a great day. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Dan. I wanted to go through the optional and the necessary equipment for the 3-month-long virtual RECODE program that you signed up for. And I'm super excited for you guys to start learning how to implement these movements into your daily life to improve the health of your whole body, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your spine, and your shoulders. You're gonna feel good after the first 2 weeks. You're gonna feel better after the 3 months. And you're gonna try to implement a lot of these exercises over the course of your lifetime. So I'm excited for you guys to learn the movements and implement them. All right, so for the equipment that I find necessary to have, first, definitely an RMT club. You can do a 2 if you are new to exercise, a 2-pound club. You can use a 4-pound club if you've been doing some type of exercise before, but you're really not gonna need to go over the 4-pound club. So either a 2 or a 4-pound club. You order this through WEC Method. 2 is gonna be your go-to slant boards. These are necessary products that are going to help to reshape the knees, the hips, and improve the health of the spine. 3, I would like you guys to try to invest in a BOSU ball. This is an incredible piece of gym equipment for your at-home gym that you can use for a number of core exercises, hip exercises, shoulders, all kinds of wonderful movements that we're going to go through in some of the advanced videos for the program. 3 is going to be your Naboso mats. So, we have either a yoga mat or a standing mat, okay? This can be used as a bath mat. You can put it in front of your sink. It is a textured mat, and it really helps to dig out the bottoms of the feet to improve circulation and stimulate the nerve activity down in the feet. So we're gonna see some of the exercises that I'm gonna do are going to be done barefoot on this mat. So don't necessarily need the yoga mat unless you're really into doing yoga. We are gonna do some of the rocking down on this mat, but the standing mat would be acceptable. We have the hip slingshot. This is used for glute exercises that we're gonna throw this on for some of the videos. This is a more advanced training tool. You don't necessarily need it right away, but it is a low-cost piece of fitness equipment that you can have at your home gym. Lastly today is gonna be the Hyper Vibe. And I talk a lot about these in different videos that we have on YouTube and Instagram. That is the G10 model. It's an awesome piece of at-home fitness equipment. It's better than a treadmill, better than elliptical. You can get a whole or a full body workout for the legs, the arms, the shoulders, as well as it's a great massage therapist that you can have at your house. So if you see some of our videos on YouTube, you'll see how you can work your calves out, your glute muscles, your IT bands. It really helps to heal the muscles throughout the body and reduces any kind of tendinitis, myositis, just inflammation in general. Helps to improve lymphatic drainage and gets the digestive tract moving in an improved manner as well, okay? So we're gonna start with the slant boards, the BOSU, the Naboso mats, the Hyper Vibe. If you want to invest in a good piece of at-home equipment, You can use some kettlebells or pick up a kettlebell and even a set of dumbbells. We're not going to use some of the strength equipment for the 3-month-long program, but the further advanced videos that you get into with the training aspect, we will use some weight, all right? You can find links to all these products in the info packet that you've received, and if you have any questions, reach out to us, and we can offer advice on what is absolutely necessary and optional, all right? Here we go. Welcome to our 3-month virtual RECODE program. My name is Dr. Dan. I'm excited to be working with you guys through this 3-month-long process. You have 28 days of outlined workouts per month, beginner and advanced workouts that are going to help you to rebuild the muscle, the connective tissue, improve your tendon, your ligament strength, and reduce pressure throughout your spine, your hips, your shoulders, to overall improve your mobility and move better throughout the day, move longer into life. So a little background on me, I am a workout enthusiast. I've kind of hunted or searched for the best set of exercises to help strain my body and rebuild my muscle, my connective tissue, my tendons, my ligaments, and improve my spinal health. As a chiropractor, my #1 goal is to move well, move often, and keep your body nice and loose so that you can avoid pain and repetitive injury throughout the day, as well as move well later into life. So in this 3-month program, we have broken down each month, month 1, month 2, month 3, and we're going to start with some easy beginner exercises. You're going to begin to work on these exercises every day, hopefully for at least 10 minutes. If you can do the full 35-minute workout, that's awesome. It's quick, you're going to feel good, your body will be sore, but I can assure you, you are on your way to rebuilding stronger movements and reducing your pain for life, okay? So we went through some of the equipment in the next video that you're gonna see. If you have any questions, email us, reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook, or send us an email that you have attached to this program. I look forward to working with you. Thank you. Okay guys, so welcome back to the program. The first video here is gonna be on your daily tips that you wanna begin to implement all throughout the day as mindfully as you can. So from the time you wake up in the morning till the time you go to bed at night, we want you to start to program your body to hold certain positions that will help you to stimulate muscles down in your legs, in your core, in your shoulders, and ultimately allow you to become more mindful in your body presence. This is going to help to relieve pain, and it's going to teach your body how to quickly identify imbalances throughout the body. The first step that we want to implement all day long, it doesn't matter if we're brushing our teeth, if we're at the grocery store, if we're sitting at work, we want to start to maintain nice straight feet forward. So many of us will catch ourselves either standing toe out or shifting our weight to left foot or over to the right foot as we do things throughout the day, especially moms carrying kids, people driving to work will routinely turn out their right foot. So the first key point is keeping the feet straight and the weight balanced on the outside edges of the feet, okay? As you work on this, you're going to begin to pick your heels up gently off the ground, and your knees kind of have this nice outward movement. This is gonna load the back side of your body, your hamstrings and your glutes, and it's gonna help to relieve pressure in the front of the hips and the lower back. So first key point is stand with your feet straight. Second key point, maintain your back chain dominance throughout the day. Back chain dominance means that you're going to repetitively practice a little shoulder pull, a little roll back with the shoulders, a nice stand up tall with the straight feet, and a little bit of a chin tuck pulling the head straight back so that we can start to reduce the forward head posture and the rounded mid back and the arched low back, or even the rounded low back that commonly develops as we sit and we stand with poor repetitive posture. So straight feet, back chain dominant means shoulders back, chin pulls up and back gently to help engage the mid-back muscles. This aligns the weight of the body over the hips. And then again, we can start to work on gently picking the heels up, twisting the knees open so that we can be in this forward lean almost. It's a great way to challenge the balance, and it's the #1 way that we're going to activate the back chain repetitively throughout the day. Third key point is going to be to coil your core or add a little twist into your spine, which is going to be a nice easy back bend here, or elbow down, as we sit and stand throughout the day. If you work at a computer for 8 hours a day, every 30 minutes, you should get fingertips together, drop your left elbow down, drop your right elbow down, or gently lean to the side, lean to the side. That is how we coil our core. It's a great spinal movement. It gets your vertebrae flexing and rotating and laterally flexing in different ranges of motion. As we do this, we're going to maintain a little bit of back chain dominance. We can add the arm reach or just a nice little hold for 5 or 10 seconds. You want to implement this a couple times throughout the day to help that spine start to move laterally. Okay? Fourth key point, diaphragmatically breathe. You can check out some of the YouTube videos until we get the more specific training videos posted. But we're going to work on that abdominal breath thoughtfully through the nose down into the belly as we work, run, exercise, lift, cut our dinner or vegetables or anything up. As we work through our movements, we want to work on diaphragmatic breathing. Fifth key point, just move or stretch frequently. So if you're sitting too much, if you catch yourself leaning on one hip, try to go back to each of the key points, the feet straight, the back chain dominance, and a little bit of coil and core, so you can start to move as well as you can, as often as you can throughout the day. Your body will start to love it, and you will start to feel the different tight muscles throughout your body that we are ultimately working to reduce. It's been a pleasure to have you guys here. Stay tuned for the first beginner videos, and good luck with everything. All right, this is beginner workout 1. We're going to start with the dowel rod. This is your 4-foot dowel rod that you guys got in your packs. You can get these at Home Depot or Lowe's. Key points with the dowel rod, we want to start to work on getting the thumbs nice and flat on the stick. We're going to start this right off the beginning, and what we're going to do with the dowel rod, let it hang right to our belly. Try to press the tips of the thumbs down into the stick. You should already feel a nice wrist stretch. This is going to take you some time to work out through the elbows up into the shoulders. You're going to gently work on tucking the elbow in nice and easy, pulling the elbow to the side, on the left side, and then over on the right side. When we say the terms dig in, we want to dig the elbows in, which is going to help us to pinch the middle of the back. We can work on a little chin tuck, and we're going to start to practice holding this dowel rod right at our waist, with our elbows dug in nice and easy. We can begin to add a little shift over to the left side and a little shift over to the right side. We want to feel this stretch down in your fingers and down in your thumbs. This is going to be very challenging for many of you. If you do need to take the thumbs off, we're going to just grip right at the edges of the stick. And again, try to dig the elbows down in and start to develop this movement through the elbows and through the shoulders. Adding in a little press directly laterally to the left and then over to the right. If you tilt your head, you'll feel how you stretch your neck out as you drive your elbow down and in, and gently straighten the elbow. This is one of the first major exercises that we want to learn how to develop and move through so that we can start to stretch the neck out down into the bicep, down into the forearm. As you feel comfortable, you can place your hands back on the stick, your thumbs back on the dowel rod. And again, just work into a nice little lateral push. We're going to take a little wider stance with the feet directly under the hips. And we're going to start to work into our first major movement that we want to learn how to develop. Is a nice rotation with the dowel rod, and a little head shift over to the right foot and over to the left foot. This is going to be one of the staple exercises that we learn how to perform so that we can get the spine to really start to loosen up. And you can start very slow with a nice easy rotation. You can put an image out on the wall or just watch through this video as we rotate left and rotate right. Again, thumbs can maintain pressure on the stick, but if the thumbs are a little too tight, you can take the thumbs off and just start to transfer the head over to the left foot and over to the right foot. Try to keep the feet nice and straight forward and work right through a little bend into it, reaching the stick as far back as you can over to the right and over to the left. On the feet, we want to maintain that foot pressure on the outside of the foot This is also an instance where we can put the chucks or the slant boards standing with your feet nice and straight on the slant boards. This allows you to keep your ankle bone nice and high on the inside of the foot, and this is what's going to help the knees to start to develop the little bow set, the little outward pressure on the outside of the foot that will help to loosen up the hips, the low back, and the ankles. We're going to rotate left and rotate right. Step 2, gently raise the stick up or the dowel rod up overhead, and try to keep your head forward and rotate the arms nice and gently around the head. Now, for many of you, this move will be pretty difficult. You can spend 3 or 4 or 5 minutes on each of these movements to develop the connective tissue and the muscle strength through the spine and through the shoulders to improve the range of motion through the body. As you feel comfortable, pick up the pace a little bit and change your hand position. Drop your front hand down, back hand up, or the opposite, try to get the back hand a little lower and the front hand a little higher. We're going to flow right down into a side to side, keeping the head kind of pinpointed on something forward and swaying the hips from side to side. The chest is going to move with the dowel rod over to the left and over to the right. After we finish up with the side to sides, we're going to move into our hip hinge. This is going to be the second half of the first warm-up workout. Bend down into your hips. Keep your feet nice and straight on the slant boards. You can pull your knees open or close your knees through. And if you see my hands here, I still am maintaining my thumb onto the stick. This is the most challenging, so if the thumbs are too stiff, just bend the thumbs around the stick until we practice some of the first movements that we talked about earlier. In the hip hinge, we want to just start to bounce, keeping the knees with a soft bend and trying to really arch the spine backwards. So when we perfect our hip hinge, it's going to be a shift back with the hips and gently drop the chest forward. We don't have a lot of weight back on the heels with the toes up. We do want to slide the body forward so that the heels can pick up a little bit. We're going to gently work on straightening the knees and bouncing right down into the hips. If you can only get a little closer, because down too deep is too difficult, don't worry. Just try to not round at the lower back. We don't want to round. So we want to shift the hips back, keep the chest up, gently pull the stick down into your back. Get back up onto your boards, and then we're going to add a little shift over to the right leg, and then over to the left leg. And we can bounce nice and smoothly through the right foot, over to the left foot, gently pulling this left knee in, and then back over to the right side with the right knee in. Back to center. We're going to stand up. Drop the left elbow down. This is how we start to coil the core, or drop the right elbow down to the right thigh or glute, and then left elbow down to left thigh or glute. Over to the right, over to the left. And you can take up to 30 seconds in each of these positions and work on a little rebounding side to side. After you finish up with a few, you can drop back down into your hinge. Keeping weight on the outside of the feet, you can start to shift over to the left leg, back over to the right leg. Gently straighten each knee out so you can get a nice deep hamstring stretch as you dynamically move through the movements. If you can press your thumbs into the stick, again, that's going to be the most difficult. Back up to center, down on the left, down on the right. As you coil through the movements, we want to start to work on tilting the head to keep the eyes level with the horizon, over to the right and over to the left. And again, you can spend all 10 minutes just hitting 1 or 2 of these exercises and really feel the stretch through the sides and down through the legs. Back to center. We can finish with some rotations in the mid stance with the down rod up to our chest, or work into an overhead movement nice and easy, keeping the eyes focused as we rotate through the shoulders, the spine, and the hips. Back down in front. Checking your feet, making sure your feet are maintaining pretty straight position on the boards. Gently shifting, shifting. Let the chest follow through. If it feels good and pretty tight for you, you can hold up a side and hold up to the other side. Many of us have a lot of muscle imbalance from one direction to the next direction, and that's what starts to torsion the spine and the hips and the knees and create pain. Exercise 2 is going to be your narrow stance bow set squats. You can use the slant boards. Ultimately, we're going to use the chucks, or you can use the bow suit, which is going to be pretty challenging. I'd recommend starting with the slant boards, keeping the feet nice and narrow and straightforward aligned with the lines. You're going to do this against a wall or a pole or a workout rig in your house. You just need something to hold on to. And we're going to begin by developing nice ankle strength and foot strength. To begin, keep the weight on the front of the feet, gently pull the knees open, and just work on some heel raises. Down low, up high. Roll the feet out to the outside of the feet, and gently come back into the big toes, and start to feel the bottom of your feet. Everybody has tight muscles, plantar fascia muscles, intrinsic foot muscles. Some people have a lot of tendonitis down in their toes. So we're going to start by just rolling around on the front of the feet, keeping the heels up and the knees pulled gently open. We want to maintain nice upward back chain dominance out of the chest. We're going to pay attention to what our feet look like and where the foot pressure is down through each of the feet. We want to weight each leg evenly and make sure that we're not, leaning over to one side too much. So try to keep the hips nice and centered. And start to work on just raising the heels up. Now we do a lot of repetitions of this. You're going to start to work on your ankles every single day in the different movements that we're going to go through. And then we're going to start to squat down a little lower into a mid-stance squat. You can hold on to the pole. You can keep the heels disengaged, and when we disengage the heels, we keep them sunk down low to the boards, but again, we still maintain that forward movement into the front of the pole. We're going to gently lower ourselves down, adding in these little up and down movements. You can sink your weight back as you hold on, or we can push forward, letting the shoulders roll open. Gently sink a little lower as you feel comfortable, and at any time you get too fatigued, just stand up nice and tall and lean into the pole to develop that nice back strength through the arms and up through the shoulders. You can transition back into your calf raises, gently twisting the knees open and sitting down into your squat. And this is where everybody needs some strength. These slant boards help to activate the deep core, the leg muscles, some of the lower abdominal muscles, As we maintain back chain dominance, we're going to start to get the spine to kind of mold itself or loosen itself up and get nice and open. As we feel comfortable, we can drop down a little lower, either disengaging the heels, dropping them down, or engaging the heels and gently raising them up. It is going to take you a lot of time to develop some strength down in the feet, but the feet will help to improve the health of the hips, the knees, and up into the spine. Again, slide forward into the front of the pole or backward behind it. We work on pressing the front of the feet down and lifting the hips back so we can maintain that nice chest up position. You may not be able to get down here in the first 2 or 3 months, so you might have to just maintain some of the upward movements. But gradually, as you develop strength in your knees and your ankles, try to sink a little lower down into the movement. We can stop bouncing for a few and work on the toes again. If 2 is too difficult, we can work on 1 foot, raising up, rolling out to the little toes and over to the big toe before we switch to the opposite side. Reset the feet. Drop back down into your squats with disengaged heels. Or engage the heels up. Pulling the knees open. You might get some clicks and pops out of your body. That's a good thing that your body is moving. Your tendons will loosen up. Circulation will improve down through your entire body. If you can get down, and as you work on this, you'll be able to get down into a full squat. And we're going to lean gently forward into the pole or the rig or a wall, keeping the heels up and starting to really bounce through the front of the feet. Come back to the center, pull the knees in a little bit. And maintain that nice bounce right through each of the positions. As you need to take a break, we can come back and begin to work on the calves again. Rolling the feet out to in. Feeling any imbalance down in the little bones of our feet. If you need to drop to just a single foot, stand up as tall as you can, gently push into the pole, and roll the feet out. The next step to integrate into your narrow stance bow set squats is going to be to start to rotate over to the left side, gently twisting the left knee open, keeping this foot straight, however, and then rotating over to the right side. You may be only able to get a little movement first out of the hip and the knee without bending down into it. This is tough on the connective tissue down into the knee. So we want to start high and start to rotate through that straight foot. Move back into some squat bounces. Knees open nice and wide. You can go short and narrow with the bounces, or we can get a little deeper into it. Come halfway out of it. Work on some hips back. Back up into the heels up now, or the engaged heel we call it. Gently pulling the knees open. Adding a little twist over to the left. A little twist over to the right. Over to the left. Over to the right. Back to center. Once your body starts to shake, that's when you reach central nervous system fatigue. You may even just start to shake on some of the basic movements, the rotations, even the heel raises. If you start to feel your body shake, that's an indication that you're hitting a weak area that we need to strengthen nicely. Forward into the pole, heels up, knees open. Stand up if you need a break. At any point throughout this video, you can pause. You can step off the slant boards. You can do some nice easy leg raises as the muscles start to fatigue and burn. You are going to build a massive amount of stamina down into your legs doing these exercises. But press, repeat. And start working on your feet and your foot strength. All right, last part of this workout is a wall plank. You're gonna put your slant boards close to a wall. We're gonna keep our feet straight on the slant boards, wide fingers on the wall, and we're gonna play around with the hand position. But what we're mainly gonna work on is either disengaging the heels, twisting the knees open, or gently raising the heels up, keeping a nice backward pressure with the head, and starting to kind of sink in to the arms, or press away from the arms. So forward movement in, backward movement out. Be mindful of where your foot pressure is at, what your knees feel like, and again, you can practice raising the heels up or dropping the heels down nice and low. We're also going to be mindful of where our finger pressure is at. So, trying to be mindful that the hands are nice and wide. And the fingers, we always want to match the 5 fingers so that they're about equidistant apart, and we don't want to see one hand curled and one hand not. So for many people, we're just going to start working on opening the fingers up, sinking through, twisting the knees open, or pressing away. And this is our wall plank. We've got a couple areas that we work on. The shoulders, we can cut over to the left or cut over to the right, cut over to the left, tuck the left elbow in, over to the right. We can work on the lower extremity, twisting into the left side gently, or twisting into the right side gently. Again, being mindful of what the hands feel like. Trying to keep the hands nice and wide. Every 30 seconds or minute, if you need to change your wrist position, we can go higher, we can go lower. We can spend all 5 or 10 minutes in one position. We're going to start to work on, again, just letting the heels sag low, twisting the hips to the left, and then gently over to the right. Gently rolling up on the green dots. Picking the head up nice and wide, nice and high, and opening the fingers nice and wide. The key points: twist to the left, left heel twists in, left knee opens, left elbow in. Lean into that side. And then over on the right side, right foot straight, right knee open. Twist the hips to the right, drop the right elbow down and in. Back to center, straighten the knees out. Gently roll around on the green dots of the feet. Again, reset the fingers nice and wide. Sinking down into it. Head is up. Begin to learn how to rotate through those stiff arms. Really pull those knees open, roll to the outside of the feet. You can add in some bounces through the heels. Press deep down into the shoulder blades. Change the hand position, go up higher. Sink down into the wall, pulling the shoulder blades down. Shift left, shift right. All right, so there's your wall plank. Spend some time on each of the feet, the arms, the elbows. We're trying to really get the arms, the shoulders, and the hips and the legs strong through the spine. That's your first workout. We'll see you guys for beginner workout 2. Today we're going to use the Naboso mat. If you don't have a Naboso mat, just do it right in your bare feet, or you can keep your sneaks on. But again, I recommend barefoot as much as you can, whether it's socks or barefoot down on the ground. For this warm-up, I'm using the Naboso stimulation mat, the small nerve stimulation mat. Start with thumbs up on the stick, and we're just going to get right into your rotation. As we did in the first video, over to the left and over to the right. Keeping the feet nice and straight. I'm going to start to notice how your toes may gently work to grip the ground. When we stand, we want to keep the knees gently pulled open as we rotate over to the right and back to the left side. And the rule of thumb for the warm-ups, they're about 10 minutes. The dowel rod sections here are 10 minutes. And we want to hit about 30 seconds to a minute of each position. Not really counting reps, but if you wanted to count reps, you could do 10 or 20. We're going to start to raise up overhead, and again, work the head shift over to the left and over to the right. We can start nice and easy. We can move the feet more narrow, challenge the stance. Be mindful of how your feet feel as they rotate. Gently through your hips, through your knees, through your shoulders, and definitely through your spine. We can stand a little wider. We're going to toe in a little bit. And again, overhead, rotate left, rotate right. Now for these wide ones, we're going to start a little slow and let the hips try to rotate over to the left and over to the right. So this second dowel rod workout is going to be a little more focused on the rotational movements. My thumbs maintain pressure on the dowel rod. We're going to shift over to the right, shift over to the left. Top arm up nice and high. If we need to start slower and lower, we just turn down the intensity and we get the shoulder joints to start to move in that nice rotational pattern. Head stays nice and up, we reach the head and we try to move those shoulders just right around the spine and right around the head. Good. Adding a new exercise, we can work on a backward push, keeping the weight on the left foot primarily, starting off nice and slow, keeping the stick on the left side of the body, back left, forward left. This top arm is going to gently raise up overhead, and as you get the movement, you're going to push that bottom arm down through and twist the body gently away from the dowel rod. Maintaining this nice left heel up movement. And you'll feel how the muscles throughout the torso really rotate. If we can't get the arm up overhead yet, we're just going to settle back into that left side swing. After we do a few, switch over to the right side. Start off nice and easy and just get that dowel rod back to the right and forward on the right. Starting to push and pull that top arm over. And this is where your imbalances are really going to come out as you try to rotate under that dowel rod. You may notice that your toes want to grip down into the ground a little bit. That's because you're activating a lot of core. And again, if you need to, just start a little easier. Dowel rod back on the right, dowel rod forward on the right. Good. All right, let's move into a new exercise that is a staple. It's going to be called an underhand 8. You're going to think about a left hand and a right hand underhand circle. So to begin this movement, we're going to focus on the left hand, making a nice big, or drawing a nice big circle right around the shoulder, right around the glenohumeral joint. Shoulder comes down and back, lifts up and forward. Okay? We're going to do that over on the right side. And we're going to think about the right arm. Make a nice big underhand circle. From the front, if I concentrate on my right side, all my brain energy is just thinking about this right hand. Make a nice big underhand circle. And then I concentrate over on the left side. The head is going to learn how to float right over top of the body, okay? So we start to develop this underhand movement, which we also talked about way back in the daily key points, starting to learn how to coil the spine side to side. The side-to-side coil is going to turn into a nice natural underhand 8, although you will be sticky throughout your spine, your hips. You'll feel as I still have some muscle imbalance in my right leg versus my left leg. My right shoulder is a little tighter than my left side. We're going to get into this rotational left circle, right circle movement, playing around with the depth. So standing tall, letting the head cut to the left, cut to the right. And I would recommend, if you have a mirror and you're at home, do this in front of a mirror so you can start to see how the body moves around the dowel rod. Stand up nice and tall, lean back. Again, you'll feel the core being challenged. The shoulders. Squat down into it a little bit. Try to maintain your bow set squat so feet are nice and straight. Knees are gently pulled open. And we're just going to power that arm through on the left and through on the right. Good. After we nail that exercise, and you can spend a whole 10 minutes just on the underhand eights. It's a great shoulder exercise. You want to maximize that movement. We can go back into side to sides. And we can start to work on a gentle pivot with the foot here. And we're going to roll that foot out to the green dot, letting the heel kind of fly away from the body over to the left and over to the right, and left and right and left reach. Adding a nice little flip and a big reach back on the left side and on the right side. Playing around with the spine, maintaining upward movement. And if you need to, obviously start a little slower. We're going to just step and twist that foot out. Good. Back to center. Let's get back into some underhand eights with a little wider stance. Picking the head up. We can work on a left hand circle, a left hand throw, or gently transition over to the right side. Right hand underhand. Back to center, both sides. Walk the feet in nice and narrow. Get that spine to develop that movement in the underhand pattern. Stand up nice and tall, twist left and twist right. Elbows down, nice movements, left and right. All right, so next part, we're gonna start to maximize down into our rocker position. The rocker position is an integral position to develop symmetrical musculature down in the knees, the ankles, and down into the hips. And one of the things that happens as we grow into adults, we start to sit in school, we start to sit at work, and we don't get back into our groundwork positions. And the groundwork is so important to help balance out the skeletal structure and develop that symmetry down into the leg, the shoulder, and the hand muscles. So for this segment, I'm going to use the Naboso yoga mat, which is great. It's got texture. You'll see as I pick my legs up and my feet up off this, you'll see how the texture kind of forms into your skin. It is wonderful for helping to improve circulation and blood flow. But you can easily do this on your floor, your carpet, your hardwood, a gym floor, or if you need a little support because the knees are too sore, you can put a bath towel or any kind of yoga mat that's a little softer under your knees. So we have an 8, a 6, a 4, and a 3-point rocker. And the 8-point rocker is what you see right here. 2 feet, 2 knees, 2 hands, and then 2 elbows, okay? So these are your 8 points. And we're gonna start with just about a minute or 2 minutes down in the 8-point rocker. Now this is a challenging position with the hands nice and wide, the fingers are nice and as even as we can get them. And we're gonna tuck the elbows down. We're gonna try to maintain a nice little arch in the spine. At the same time, we wanna look through the legs and ensure that our feet and our knees are in a similar position, okay? And we're gonna just gradually sink down into this rocker position. As we do the rocker, we just kind of shift forward and backward bouncing through the knees, through the elbows, and down into the feet. We're going to maintain that nice finger wide position, and we can add in a little shift over to the right side and then over to the left side. We're going to try to just, again, reset those fingers, pull them nice and open and far apart. Gently slide forward out of it and backward down into it. Now, many of us, myself included, was very tight in this the first couple months of doing it. And so you might just need to start without sitting the whole way back, but just kind of bouncing and starting to feel the muscles in the front of the hips and down into the knees just gradually stretch out. This is the 8-point rocker. If we come up off the elbows, we change it to the 6-point rocker. The 6-point rocker is going to be wide fingers, toes tucked in a little bit, knees nice and straight, and rocking back and forth. Again, we're either rocking straight front to back, or we can get into a little side to side bounce, back on the left hip, back on the right hip, back into the left hip, and back into the right hip. Transitioning between the elbows down or the elbows up, keeping the chin pulled back and the head up nice and high. Now, many of us will develop some pretty significant fatigue in the muscles in the back of the neck and up into the shoulders, and even down into the hips and the knees. And that's an indication that we need to hit this position more frequently as we age to help maintain good hip health, good knee health, and good ankle, shoulder, everywhere through the body is going to get nice and healthy here. So we can transition between kind of like a full rock, front to back, or just little micro rocks down into the foot or both feet, and then over to the left hip and over to the right hip. We can outstretch the arms a little bit. Again, focus on keeping the fingers nice and wide. You can let the head sag down low for a little, or pick it up nice and high. Turn and look over to the right shoulder, and then turn and look over to the left shoulder. And this is such an integral exercise because as children, they start to learn how to crawl by kind of prepping themselves with front to back movements like this. Crawling is a precursor to walking, and so we've got to maintain our crawl to really learn how to walk well and without pain. So this is a tough exercise for the knees and down into the hips. Separate the fingers nice and wide. You can press the thumb and the pinky down and try to pull the other three apart. You can drop down into the side-to-side rocker with a little head turn. And then over to the opposite side. Bounce it front to back, wide fingers. Come up out of it when you need a little rest. Walk the hands back. Transitioning more into an upright 6-point rocker. We're going to keep the hands nice and wide, close to us on the mat. And we can begin to, again, just kind of shift over to the right leg. Starting to work on the thoracic rotation, so left elbow in and right elbow away. And then over to the right elbow in and left elbow away. Finding any tight areas down into the ankles and the knees. Kind of rocking left and right nice and gently. When you need to, transition back into more of an extended 6-point rocker. And the other thing that we can work on changing the knee depth, or the knee width, excuse me. Making sure that the toes are gently touching behind us. That's kind of the indication that your feet and your ankle muscles are going to be nice and symmetrical if you keep the feet in the same or similar position. And we're going to gently rock back onto the right leg. Pick the head up, we can twist to the right. And then back over to the left side. Coming back to center and adding a nice little hip shift over to the right side, right elbow in. Back over to the left side. Play around with your head and your neck movements. Try to just add some rotation to the left. Look over the left shoulder. And then look back over the right shoulder. Arch back through the hands. And again, as always, challenge the finger position and try to keep the fingers nice and wide down on the mat. We can move the knees in nice and close, and you will feel the difference in the ankles and the knees in the different positions. And so you might have one position that feels okay, but then you change your knee or foot position and you get a tightness somewhere. And if you have any tension or tightness, just start to work through the micro bounces every day for about 5 or 10 minutes per day in this segment, and get that tightness. It will gradually work out, and it will help to improve the hip, the knee health, and all throughout the body. And it will be a little uncomfortable. Looking from the back for the last minute here. We want to again keep the toes in, and we're going to elevate that chest, and we're going to try to walk the hands back and sit back as close as we can onto that right heel. And then over to the left side. All right, we're gonna get back to the hip hinge for the second part of this workout. Thumbs on the stick. Stick is gonna be pulled down into the shoulders gently. Weight's gonna be nice and centered on the outside of the feet. On the slant boards, we're gonna gently try to roll the knees open. We're gonna focus today on the hip hinge as well as some upper body movements. So let's start with a little lean down into the left side and a little lean down into the right side. Over to the right, we wanna gently begin to twist that right elbow back. And then over onto the left, twist the left elbow down and back towards the left hip. The knee gently rolls open, and then the knee gently rolls open over to the right side. We're gonna have light pressure, if any, through the heels. Just try to float the heels up. Keep the toes nice and relaxed, and as you work on the balance on the outside of the feet, you'll feel how your glutes and your hamstrings get a nice solid workout. Over to the right side, right elbow down, and over to the left side. Come back to center. We're going to again begin to work on that double bow set, where we Gently pick the pressure or take the pressure up off the heels. And we work on that knees open approach. Elbows are down nice and far. And we're gonna start to sink down. First, just working on our double bow set, knees open. This is called the double bow set, where we really kind of pull the knees open. Or we've got our release position, our hip hinge position, where the knees are gonna roll in. And we've got nice light pressure through the toes. We keep the pressure on the outside of the feet, and we're just gonna start to work on our hip hinge. Knees in gently on the hip hinge. We can shift the head over to the right side. We can shift the head gently over to the left side, and that's gonna kind of transfer the weight between the left foot and then over to the right foot, okay? We can bend the knees down and in, keeping the feet nice and straight forward and arching back through the spine. You're gonna feel how this really works the adductors, the inner leg muscles, and down through the hamstrings. Maintain that stick right down into the scapula. You can keep your thumbs rolled over, or again, drive the thumbs down through, or right through the dowel, okay? We're gonna keep the feet soft. When I say soft, we wanna like wiggle the toes, we wanna pick the heels up a little bit, and we wanna begin to rest on that green dot that you have in your info packet. We're gonna transition between a little double bow set, and again, just like we did against the pole, start to bounce up and down. Start to shift your hip over your right leg, over your left leg. Back to center, straighten the knees out big time. Roll the knees in. You can have light pressure through the heels, and you're gonna feel this big time like up in your hip crease. Now we wanna maintain that nice back extension. So, on a side view, we're trying to really shift the hips back and get that dowel rod to just kind of allow you to arch back over that dowel rod a little bit, right? Now, as we work on the hip hinge, it's going to help you to balance out your spine and your hips. And we're going to really work on that shift. And then as we shift the head over the right foot, we want that right knee to roll in a little bit. And then over to the left side. And you can play around with different positions, kind of like up out of the hip hinge, over to the right, and then slowly sinking down deeper into the hip hinge. And you will have a little pinch, a little tension. A lot of people have a little tension in the front of the hip. And that's okay if you work through this nice and gently. Over to the right side, right knee in. But still try to maintain that weight on the outside of the foot. So you see how my ankles kind of roll out. That's one of the big things with the double bow set we work on. And then as we hip hinge, we want to maintain this arch. And it's kind of like a grip. You see my toes grip the plate here. And we work on this knees in approach. And this is what's going to really help the back side to get strong. The glutes, the hamstrings, and we'll take pressure out of your low back. Now, very important that we're not going to round at the low back, but we're going to try to maintain that nice little kind of like hip out or low back extension, lumbar extension position. Okay, so let's get back into it. Grip the feet, twist the knees, hinge down. We can drop the left elbow down. We can drop the right elbow down. We pull the knees in, keep the chest up. You can play around with the stick position, and high level, going to be to start to get into some underhand eights in different positions. Up tall, transition, back down into your hip hinge. Back up. If at any time the low back muscles or the hip muscles start to fatigue, just change your position. Okay? There we go. So we want to get those arches down the feet, and you want to feel as your feet, they will start to grip. Many of us have weak foot muscles, and the toe muscles We'll start to get mega strong by practicing this position. We can go back with the dowel rod, sink down into a nice narrow kneed squat, and then a bow set squat. But as we narrow knee, we do not let the ankle roll in. We keep that arch in the bottom of the foot, and that's what the slant boards help us to develop. Let's go and do a little more toe in now. And again, just sink right down into your hip hinge. That's low back flat, chest up. All right, so straight feet and knees in. We can bounce over the right leg and gently work on raising up the right heel with the right foot out. You see how I kind of roll around on my toes here? So the right knee is going to be in, the right heel is going to be up. You can work on the right heel out far, bounce into that right leg. All right, before we even get down into there, we can just roll around on those toes high up. Foot health and tendon health down the feet. Bone position down the foot. Everybody gets real tight, stiff, but sometimes weak feet. So we're going to start to work on kind of loading this hinge right here. Get the heel out. Roll around on that ankle as best you can. Start very slow because your connective tissue is going to get sore from this. It is going to help you gradually over the time frame to develop less strength on your feet, okay? So back to center, hip hinge, shift, gently raise a foot. You can drop the elbow down, shift, raise a foot, drop the elbow down. Back to center, straighten the feet up, knees in, get the nice little calf grip. Drop down into it, head up, knees in, straighten the knees, bounce gently through the right leg, right knee in, through the left leg, left knee in. Up and down. Low back stays nice and flat. And again, you can go very slow. We want to start to transition from the head to the left, head to over right, head to left, head to over. 5 minutes of a wall plank. This is a reverse wall plank. We're going to set the slant boards up. And if we don't have the slant boards, we don't have to use the slant boards. But what we're going to work on here is about 6 to 10 or 12 inches away from the wall. And we're just going to start to reach the palms back. First step is starting to reach one palm back. Trying to keep the middle finger down to the ground, keeping the feet nice and straight forward. And we're going to work on reaching that right hand nice and flat back onto the wall and straightening the right elbow. Super challenging to activate the back chain here. And we're gonna work on rolling that right shoulder open, right? We're gonna try to flatten all 5 fingers down onto the wall. And then we can either switch over to the left arm. Again, trying to make sure we keep that middle finger to the ground. And eventually, over the next couple months as you do this, we're gonna get both arms back onto the wall. And we're just gonna start to pump left shoulder up. And we wanna get the neck nice and loose here. And then right shoulder up. As the right shoulder opens, the left shoulder closes. And as the left shoulder opens, the right shoulder kind of closes forward. We can come back to center. We can reach the hands down a little bit. And we can roll both shoulders open nice and strong back into the wall. Stretch the neck to the left. Stretch the neck to the right. If you need to take a break at any time through this video, take a break through it by just pulling your hands off the wall. You'll feel how your back chain gets mega active here. We're gonna keep the feet straight. If you've got your slant boards, you can use them, absolutely. We're gonna work on getting into that double bow set position where the knees are gently pulled open. You see how that kind of formulates the arches down in the foot? And then we're gonna work on that shoulder mobility through the right side and through the left side. Head is gonna be up nice and high. Move that neck around. Turn it and turn it. Extend up, roll the shoulders open. Gently pressing the pelvis forward. Lean the head to the left. Lean the head to the right. You can bend the hips. And again, your body's going to want to move through these positions because they're mega challenging. So you're going to fatigue quickly in each position. If at any point you get too fried, just take a hand off the wall, maintain the other hand on the wall, almost like if it was glued down onto the wall. Wide fingers, flat hand. Try to stand up tall through that shoulder. And then you can easily change to the other hand for the other side of the reverse wall plank. Press the arm down, get that nice stretch through your neck. Come back to center. Reach both hands back. The higher you get them up, the more challenge. At first, you're just gonna work on the hands right down by the hips. Pick the head up, kind of move around a little bit. Get into a nice little shoulder pump. Again, if you need to, take one hand off. Keep the fingers pressed wide onto the wall. Straighten the elbow. Loosen that neck up away from the shoulder. Switch sides when you need to. If you need to drop to the elbows on the wall, you can drop to the elbows on the wall. Keeping the feet nice and relaxed on the slant boards, or you can transition into one arm, one elbow on the wall, or other arm, other elbow on the wall. Okay? If you, easiest is gonna be to stand very close to the wall at first, and just kind of pin yourself back, keeping the feet nice and straight forward, flattening the hands out. As your back chain gets stronger over the next couple months, you're going to be able to press a little higher up and maintain the shoulder roll open. And we're going to get into this nice high-heeled back chain plank. Adding a left shift and a gentle right shift. Rotating the hips to the left and over to the right. You'll definitely start to feel all the leg muscles and the spine muscles and the oblique muscles. They work one way a little better than the other way. All right. All right, so downward workout 3 is going to be done up on the slant boards. If you have a mirror in front of you, or if you can place a mirror in front of you, that's going to be best. Or you just keep your eyes glued right to the TV or the screen right now until you learn how to rotate the body through the head. So the head, we want to pick out a fixed point, and we want to pattern the rotation basically from the neck down to the ankles. And pick the point out, try to keep the head pinned at that point for the first part of this warm-up. Feel the left knee open up on the left, and the right knee open up on the right. Let's add in a little head shift over the left leg and over to the right leg. And trying to keep that head straight as the body rotates around the head that's cutting over the right foot and the left foot. You'll kind of feel a challenge just as I do on my right side. You might have it on the left side. My right foot's a little weaker, a little stiffer than my left foot. So you can see how my head I have a little bit of rotational work to still work on in my right rotation. Right there, left side, right side, okay? Slow it down. Add in this side to side again. Open the hips to the left, open the hips over to the right. If you're a golfer, you want to swing right through and get this foot, this right foot, heel up a little bit, and right arm back up nice and high. And then over on the left side, left arm up high. Right arm, left arm. Right arm, left arm. Okay? Let's go back to the right and up overhead. Inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back, exhale forward. Press it up nice and high. Stand up tall, out of both knees. Pull that back elbow down. Inhale back, exhale, pull it up forward. Turn that head, look through that arm. Good, over on the left side. Good. Back to center. Let's get into your underhand eights. And again, the more you practice these repetitions, the easier they get. Dropping the left elbow down, the right elbow down. Maintain nice little back extension, back chain dominance. So elbows in nice and tight. Get your thumbs on the stick if you can. Let the head cut from the right hand to the left hand. Slow down. If you're a beginner here, and just work on that underhand movement, and you can transition to a low cut or a high lean back a little bit cut to help that spine loosen up. Stand up tall, add in a little twist left, a little twist right, a little twist left, a little twist right. Back to center. Let's get into a little squat pattern here. We're gonna keep the feet straight, we're gonna pull the knees open, and let's shift over to the right elbow down into the right glute. Really gently sink down into it. Up high, if you're having a little tough time right there, this is mega challenge. Drop down into the right hip a little bit, twist the chest over to the right. Play around with the weight through the upper torso. Or get into some underhand eights here. We can stand up into the underhand eight. You can drop down a little lower. Maintaining this opposite knee gently open. And transition over to the left side. Left knee opens up. And bounce down into that left side. Left elbow down. Back to As you feel comfortable and the hips and the knees continue to improve, you're going to be able to get down lower into the squat. Basics of the squat, you can put the stick down in front of you. We're going to pull the knees open gently and we're going to start to work on the double bow set squat. Keeping light pressure through the front of the feet. Pulling the knees open, picking the chest up, gently sinking down. As you need to, you can stand up and take a break. Gently roll the knees in slightly. Pull the knees back open. Sinking a little deeper down into it. You can start to work on picking the heels up as you feel comfortable. Again, start up nice and high. As we've done in other videos, kind of roll around on the feet, feel the feet start to develop their strength. Bounce nice and slowly through it. Knees straight forward or knees open wide. As you can, drop down a little deeper into the high-heeled squat. And we're bouncing up and down. Okay? If you don't need the stick for balance, you can keep the stick up on the back. That's going to be the mega challenge. Working on the heels high, the knees open, sitting down into your double bow set squat. Coming out here, you need a nice little break. Okay? Key points for you are going to be straightforward. We've hit some upper body, we've hit some lower body. Now we're going to work into a little bit of drop-in lunge position. So, stick down on left side, left foot forward. We're going to step back, the right foot up off the board. And we're going to start to just rest on this dowel rod here at varying depths. So, we either want high up, knee open, chest over to the left side. We can bend the chest forward into that front leg. This is going to be one of the most important positions that you really start to maximize over the next couple months. This is going to be your left side drop-in position. Transitioning down lower into the lunge, the back knee comes in, the front knee gently opens up. We want to try to maintain a little grip through the toes, but we want to work on this just as we did one of the other warm-ups, this hip rotation. Down into this left leg, another 10 seconds. Play around with your depth. Can hit it high, can hit it straight, can hit it down low, okay? Next side, right arm, right knee open, right chest open. Straighten it out, bend over top of it a little bit. Bend down into it a little bit. Chest forward over top of it. Back knee comes in. Use that dowel rod to help you rotate. Bounce up out of it a little bit. Straighten it out. Work that hip rotation. Keep the pressure gently up off the heel. There we go. All right, now we're going to work on our quadruped and our pike, okay? So quadruped is going to be with the knees down and the toes are going to be down the bottoms of the feet. And we're going to work just like we did in our rocking video at wide hands, wide fingers, okay? Key points of the quadruped, going to be the back extension. So we're going to work on driving pressure through those wide fingers, tucking the elbows in and arching the spine up nice and high. We're going to start to work on the feet, rolling the feet out to the outside of the feet or pressing directly through the big toes. So this is feet out, and this is big toe pressure. Just like we did in the rocker, we can start to just kind of get into your rockers, your bounces back and forth. But we're going to start with the toes, again, down on the bottom of the ground, and we want to feel this stretch through the toes, okay? Start high up, gently bounce down into your rocker position. Applying pressure through the toes, and again, rolling the ankles out or in. We can drop down into our 8-point quadruped rocker, or we can come up into our 6-point, and we can play around with the hand position, either narrow hands or further arms outstretched, right? We can pick the knees up as we feel comfortable. Now you might spend the whole 10 minutes of this workout over the next month just getting into your rocker position with your knees down, and then you can start to work on a single knee up and a single knee up. Now again, you may do this whole 10-minute segment just playing with the different arm position and hand position. Be mindful of the wide fingers. Shift your hips over to your left side. Shift your hips over to the right side. Gently feel those toes stretch out. They're all going to be tight. All the toes get tight. But as we gently work on the rebounding, the muscles are going to quickly stretch and they're going to start to loosen up. Key points, wide fingers, elbows in nice and tight, chest up, rock back on the left foot, and then rock back on your right foot. You can change into a direct lateral, side to side rock. And then find where you have a little tight spot and work right through. For me, my right second and third toe are a little tighter on my right foot than my left foot. When you need to, take a little break or work into the more difficult position, which is going to be knees up and really pressing through the toes, maintaining that nice high spine and head, but also checking on your feet periodically. Take a little break when necessary. Now, transitioning up into the pike, we can do one knee raise to start to get into a little bit of more of a pike position. So keep both toes down and just start to work on picking the left knee up. And you're going to kind of turn over into that left side or over to the right knee up. Both knees up. You can walk the hands back in and just kind of rock back and forth. But again, the precursor to developing that both knee up strength is going to be picking up the single leg. Trying to maintain a nice big chest arch. Pull everything up nice and high. Widen the hands out. You can walk your feet in and go into a nice pike. Pike is going to be nice wide fingers, and we're just going to start to work on dropping the heels down to the ground, twisting the knees open. Kind of bouncing back and forth as you can. Now, if you need to take a little break, let's just work on the quadruped, up into the pike, back down into quadruped. Head up, chest up. Over onto the left foot. And then over onto the right foot. Back to center and add in that straight lateral side to side shift. And again, if you feel that one foot's tighter, just kind of sit back into that back foot. For me, it's my right foot. And transition side to side. When you can, pick the knees up. Walk the hands in. Kind of bounce on the tops of the feet. Head up, chest up. Rock right back into those toes that are pressed down into the ground. We can transition into that like wide bead squat. Gently pulling the knees open, bouncing up and down, and walking back through, back into your pike gently. And the big step right here is definitely working on getting those toes to press high out of the ankles and maintain that chest up spine arch, right? So that's going to be one of the main goals with this movement series here, is getting the toes to press high out of the feet. Engage the heels, disengage them, engage them, pull the knees open, take a little rest when you need to, right? Work on that back extension. We're really working on developing that nice back chain dominance with the heels engaged, creating all that super strength back in the back side. Tuck the elbows in nice and tight, pick the head up, and just kind of rock back and forth. Back over on the left leg, back over on the right leg. Slow it down, shift over to the left side. Shift over to the right side. As you slow these movements down, you may get some joints in your body to adjust, your spine to adjust, your hips might pop a little bit. If you take each of the movements nice and slowly, you'll be able to kind of just find out or hunt out all the tight areas and safely work through this. It takes time. You're gonna hit this series every couple days for about 35 minutes. It's a great hip workout. You can do it as a warm-up, you can do it as a cool down. Back to center. Rock back into it. This segment we're going to go through drop in and release work, right? So drop in is going to be the bow set squats that we've done, and we're gonna work on, specifically for the next 10 minutes, really nailing the drop in and then working the release position as well. So we wanna keep the feet straight, and we just wanna start to pull the knees open so that we can get the glutes to kick on and the hamstrings to kick on. We're gonna keep the toes nice and softly gripped down into the boards, and you can either have the dowel rod up or down if you wanna kind of rest it down, or you can even do this close to a table so you can have a little support, or close to a wall. And we just wanna start to work on sinking down deep into the knees open, but the heels up slightly. We're gonna start to transition into the high-heeled or engaged heeled leg work, right? So we can work on the right leg up, twisting the chest over to the right side, or the left leg up, twisting the chest over to the left side, over to the right, and over to the left. If you don't need the balance, as you get stronger, you're gonna keep the stick up on your back, and you're gonna transition into the left heel up and over to the right heel up. But for the time being, your first few sets through this, first few weeks through this, we're gonna work on the right foot up, the right knee open, twisting the chest over to the right leg, and we can load the right leg, kind of shift our weight over top of it. Disengage the heel, put it down, or raise the heel and put it back up. Same thing over to the left side. Left heel up, drop down into that left hip. Back over into the right side. Coming back to center, balancing on the dowel rod if you need to, raising the heels up, pulling the knees open, and starting to kind of find that little balance through the double. This is our double bow set, our drop-in position, right? So if you need the weight or the stick, which I started off needing it, and as the legs get stronger and the hips get stronger, you'll be able to balance a little better. We're gonna bounce down on that left leg and over onto that right leg, twisting gently to the right and twisting gently over to the left. Sink down as low as you can and kind of stress those hips out. Come back to center. Bounce up and down. Gently pull the knees open. All right, so working on the double bow set squats. Dropping down low, trying to grip the toes down to the ground, into the slant boards, pulling the knees open. You can also do this against the pole or against a wall or close to a table, or if you have a nice little rig set up, you can hold on to a bar. And we're just gonna work on the toe grip, knees open, match the feet up, twist over to the right leg, twist over to the left leg. As you can, sink down lower into it. Ultimately down to center. You can rest on the dowel rod or pick the dowel rod up, place it on your back. We want to see these toes work, we want to see the feet work. And again, we want to work on that double bow set position, okay? Good. Step two, you're gonna work on the cornering. Right leg forward, right knee open. The chest is gonna turn over to the right side. And then we wanna almost push this right hip back. So we get nice and long through this right leg. You're gonna do this 1 foot up on the slant board. Right knee open, right chest open. Bend down into that right leg. as slow and low as you can go, but keep that right knee open. And we're gonna work on this back foot, kind of pressing up and out. So we can start easy as we did in one of the other beginner workouts, and then gently transition down into that right knee open and playing around with the bounce. At any point through these videos, you guys can pause them and rewind and just hit a minute or 2 minutes of one of these exercises. But key points, chest, hip, and knee all face the same direction. We're gonna transfer that weight backward or forward. And the lower we can go, we can even rest down on this back knee, keeping the foot straight, the knee gently twisted open, and you're gonna get a lot of burning, a lot of fatigue down in the outside leg muscles, the ankles, the calf, for the first couple months as you work on this stuff. Sitting with the chest facing over the right side, we can gently raise up that right heel. This is a nice back chain activation for the hamstring. So you can see how my back heel is released, my front foot is straight. I'm gonna lean my head down on this right side. We're gonna work on powering the leg up. Standing up nice and tall, taking a little break at the top. Twisting over the right leg, gently letting that right knee roll out, but keeping that foot down on that board there. And you'll feel all the connective tissue in your leg, your foot, and the hamstring especially start to stretch out. We're gonna switch sides. Do the same thing on this left leg, keeping the foot straight, gripping the foot down into the ground, twisting the knee open, the chest open. We can start with some bouncing down into this left leg. Place the stick in different positions so you can get a little bendier, a little more bendy out of the low back and out of the hip. Raise the heel up gently. Let the knee twist open. Start in different positions. And we're just going to start to load that left leg. Chest is open to the left, knees open to the left. Foot is straight. Most difficult to work on a little heel raise right here. And then we're going to sink down into it. We're going to get into a little rebounding. And over to that left side. Okay. Slide it back. Back foot's released. That means my heel's away, my knee's in. We're going to straighten this left leg out. Drop down into that left knee open. And as you can, just swivel down into it. Nice and easy, but challenging. Straighten that front knee out. Press those toes down. Stand up tall, take a little break if you need to. Keep that knee out, keep the chest out. We're working on the left side. We're just gonna bounce right through that knee open. Drop down, stand it up. We can finish with the last 15 or 20 seconds of just, again, double bow setting and working on that nice little squat bounce right here. Okay. All right, so for this segment, we're gonna do 5 minutes of a bar hang. Now we can do a low bar hang, or we can do a high bar hang. We're gonna talk about each of the key points in this 5-minute video, and then you're gonna spend the next couple workouts hitting the 5 minutes of a bar hang for the end. So, developing the ability to hang is wonderful for the spine as it helps stretch it out. It helps to decompress the spine, helps to activate the deep core muscles. We are going to use our slant boards for this so that we can pay attention to the feet position. We're going to start by developing first the hang down low, and you're going to use your feet to just balance your weight. You're going to put the feet up on the slant boards, and we're just going to spend this 5 minutes just kind of hanging out here. Now you're not going to be able to hang for all 5 minutes, so at any point if you need to step up or change positions, you can pull up into the bar, or we can hang down low, take a little break as necessary, but we are going to talk about each of the key points. So one, we're going to maintain nice foot pressure onto the slant boards. We're going to work on nice easy grip with the thumbs over approach, and one of the more difficult points to work on is a little shoulder shift, but you are going to start to do this gently and develop the strength down in the shoulders. At any point you need to take a break, just stand up and take a little breather, pull the elbows down and in, and then reset and get into your hanging. You want to do 5 minutes total of hanging. So if you're going to be taking breaks through this session, make sure that you try to accumulate all 5 minutes in the hanging position. On the slant boards, the feet are going to be nice and straight, and the knees are going to be pulled open gently. And we're just going to work on this like front to back movement or side to side shift. We want to keep the head up and elevated, and we want to just start to transfer the weight through the hands. We can also, as we get more advanced with these movements, work on a knee push forward on the right or a knee push forward on the left. And this is going to really get the spine and the hips to rotate underneath the hands. At any point you need to take a break, stand up tall, drive down through the elbows, and you can reset yourself down into this nice little hang position. We want to pay attention to the feet, and we want to feel the shoulders and the elbows work. We can swing the feet back and forth, or the hips back and forth through the feet, or side to side. If you need a break, just give yourself a little pull up or a little press out. Slide forward, get up onto the toes, slide backward. Precursor is going to be just developing the rock. Take a break. If hanging down low is too difficult, we can work on a high bar hang. And we're just going to hang back away from the bar, keeping the feet straight forward and shifting the body right and left. Adding a nice little rotation with the hips over to the right and over to the left, over to the right, over to the left. Ultimately, we're going to work on the high bar. If you have a pull-up bar at home, or in the workout equipment, you can get a door hang bar for in your house. We just want to work on a little stretch left and a little stretch right. Hang nice and low, shift left, shift right. The rotator cuff muscles, the shoulder muscles, and the spine muscles, they'll fatigue through these movements, but you will gradually build grip strength, wrist strength, spine strength, and body will start to move well. Back to center, adding in some rotation left, some rotation right, keeping the feet nice and straight and gently working on developing the rotation through the hips. through the shoulders and through the rest of the body. So we want to hit about 5 minutes of a bar hang in any of these positions. Cool. Five minutes of a wall plank. This is a reverse wall plank. We're going to set the slant boards up. And if we don't have the slant boards, we don't have to use the slant boards. But what we're going to work on here is about 6 to 10 or 12 inches away from the wall. And we're just going to start to reach the palms back. First step is starting to reach one palm back. Try and keep the middle finger down to the ground, keeping the feet nice and straight forward. And we're gonna work on reaching that right hand nice and flat back onto the wall and straightening the right elbow, super challenging to activate the back chain here. And we're gonna work on rolling that right shoulder open, right? We're gonna try to flatten all 5 fingers down onto the wall. And then we can either switch over to the left arm. Again, trying to make sure we keep that middle finger to the ground. And eventually, over the next couple months as you do this, we're gonna get both arms back onto the wall. And we're just gonna start to pump left shoulder up. And we wanna get the neck nice and loose here. And then right shoulder up. As the right shoulder opens, the left shoulder closes. And as the left shoulder opens, the right shoulder kind of closes forward. We can come back to center, we can reach the hands down a little bit, and we can roll both shoulders open nice and strong back into the wall. Stretch the neck to the left, stretch the neck to the right. If you need to take a break at any time through this video, take a break through it by just pulling your hands off the wall. You'll feel how your back chain gets mega active here. We're gonna keep the feet straight. If you've got your slant boards, you can use them, absolutely. We're gonna work on getting into that double bow set position where the knees are gently pulled open. You see how that kind of formulates the arches down in the foot? And then we're gonna work on that shoulder mobility through the right side and through the left side. Head is gonna be up nice and high. Move that neck around. Turn it and turn it. Extend up, roll the shoulders open, gently pressing the pelvis forward. Lean the head to the left, lean the head to the right. You can bend the hips, and again, your body's gonna wanna move through these positions because they're mega challenging, so you're gonna fatigue quickly in each position. If at any point you get too fried, just take a hand off a wall, maintain the other hand on the wall, almost like if it was glued down onto the wall. Wide fingers, flat hand. Try to stand up tall through that shoulder. And then you can easily change to the other hand for the other side of the reverse wall plank. Press the arm down, get that nice stretch through your neck. Come back to center. Reach both hands back. The higher you can get them up, the more challenge. At first, you're just gonna work on the hands right down by the hips. Pick the head up, kind of move around a little bit. You can do a nice little shoulder pump. Again, if you need to, take one hand off. Keep the fingers pressed wide onto the wall. Straighten the elbow. Loosen that neck up away from the shoulder. Switch sides when you need to. If you need to drop to the elbows on the wall, you can drop to the elbows on the wall. Keeping the feet nice and relaxed on the slant boards, or you can transition into one arm, one elbow on the wall. or other arm, other elbow. Okay? If you, easiest is going to be to stand very close to the wall at first and just kind of pin yourself back, keeping the feet nice and straight forward, flattening the hands out. As your back chain gets stronger over the next couple months, you're going to be able to press a little higher up and maintain the shoulder roll open. And we're going to get into this nice high-heeled back chain plank. Adding a left shift and a gentle right shift. Rotating the hips to the left. And over to the right. You'll definitely start to feel all the leg muscles and the spine muscles and the oblique muscles may work one way a little better than the other way. All right, that's fine, right? Alright, so this is recovery workout 1. We didn't have this in the necessary or required equipment, but we do want you to get a little foam roller. You can order these offline or pick them up in the office here or Amazon. This is, I think, about a 12-inch foam roller that's like 6 inches in diameter. And we're going to use this just for a little thoracic spine extension. And we're going to spend about 10 minutes doing this. Recovery workouts can be done like twice a week or once every Saturday morning for just 10 minutes. We're going to hit this recovery workout with the thoracic spine. So I'm going to start beginner, but I am going to go through and show you how advanced you're going to want to get with the movements. The foam roller is going to sit right in the middle of the back. And what we want to do here at home in the living room, you can turn the TV on, we can place the foam roller behind the back, or we can do a little reading here. We're gonna keep the feet nice and straight forward, and we just wanna start to get comfortable engaging the core, but pushing back into the foam roller. So we may, at first, for 30 seconds or a minute, just begin to watch TV, keeping the chin packed nice and tight, either upward or backward. And we're going to just slowly kind of rest down in this position. The feet stay nice and straight. The hips are going to open up a little bit. We're going to kind of drive a little bit of pressure down through the glutes. And as you feel comfortable, we can start to pick the butt up. And we're going to use the feet to just drive the foam roller up and down through the spine. We can place the hands down if we need to and gently roll back over top. If the head doesn't feel comfortable going into extension yet, we can support the head with the hands, rotate the elbow to the right side, and then gently over to the left side. And the goal here is to comfortably diaphragmatically breathe into the abdomen and out. As we work on the diaphragm breathing, it's going to help to strengthen the front chain, the core of the diaphragm, the lungs, the obliques, and it's going to allow that thoracic spine to open up and develop a little more mobility. We can gently wiggle the right elbow and the left elbow down. Or again, pick the butt up and just start to roll through the T-spine. Interlock the fingers up overhead, reach the arms high up overhead, and press the palms away from the T-spine. Lean over to the left, and lean over to the right. Big arm reach overhead. When you need to, you can sit up gently and kind of reposition that dowel rod right back into the middle of the back. Picking the head up off of the chest and just rolling back and forth gently. Lean back over top of the foam roller. You can raise those arms high up overhead. Support your neck at any time that you need to. And recheck your feet. And you can just kind of lay here with your knees open slightly. Adding in a little rock out of the pelvis now. Pulling the left hip up off the ground. And then the right hip up. And then left hip up. And then right hip up. And as you rotate the hips, we're going to feel that spine is going to gently stretch around the shoulder blades. Arch that spine back over the foam roller. Straighten those elbows out high up overhead. You can interlock your fingers, work on rolling the shoulders up overhead and down into the stomach. Keep the feet straight, raise the right hip, shift the left hip, and back to the other side. These movements are going to take a lot of time to develop as the hip muscles and the low back muscles kind of develop that mobility and that control. But just start to work slowly through the hip shift left, the hip shift right. Getting back up overhead with the arms and just kind of like letting the head sink down into the thoracic spine. Shifting the hips over to the right and over to the left. Back to center, arch back. And again, if you want to start with a little easier, just plant the foam roller under the mid back and begin to work on core breathing in the living room as you watch TV. Or you can read a little book in this position, or you can pick the head up and get into a little bit of this rested position through the TL junction, gradually taking the time to work on that extension through the T-spine. T-spine's thoracic spine. You want to always work on extending that mid-back. We've got another 2 minutes left. We're going to just kind of plant the hands back. Or arms out to side. arch back. Wiggle the elbows, right elbow up high, and gently left elbow up high. Arms back down in front, and wide fingers down on the ground. Just try to roll the shoulders open. And again, play around with the right shoulder opening up and the elbow reaching in, and then left elbow and left shoulder. Get back into a few rolls. And extend over. Twist the hips left and right. Twist the hips left and right, extend back. Gently, when you're done, roll to sit up, all right? So that was a 10-minute foam roller recovery workout. We're rolling back. This is a short foam roller. If you have a long one, that's okay as well. Try to get that thoracic spine to extend. Definitely start to rotate underneath it. Hit these movements a couple times a week for about 5 to 10 minutes. All right, guys, recovery part 2 is going to be a little bit of a Sphinx position and a rolling groundwork. So this is gonna be done at home, and we're gonna do this on the living room floor, on the gym floor, wherever you wanna do it. You can do it on a yoga mat, you can do it on carpet, that's wonderful. And we're gonna work on the Sphinx first. So, key positions of the Sphinx that we wanna start to work on at home. Toes are gonna be tucked in behind me. You see how my toes are kind of pointed in a little bit. Heels are gonna be gently out. And we're gonna start to work on elbows in tight and head up nice and high. This is your Sphinx position. Just as we did in some of the other videos with the fingers, we wanna keep the fingers nice and wide, and we wanna just start to rest here. We can add a shift over to the left and a shift over to the right gently. You might feel that one side moves a little easier than the other side. So I can easily kind of sag or laterally bend over to my left arm, but my right shoulder is just a little tighter. And this is the shoulder that I broke. I broke the clavicle in 3rd grade, and so my right shoulder, I've really been rehabbing it for a couple years now, and it's much better, but so much less pain from implementing some of these exercises. This is your Sphinx with lateral flexion or side bending. We're gonna keep the fingers down, and we're gonna roll into that right shoulder. We're gonna try to pick the head up and just learn how to gently move the neck around softly. We're gonna shift over to the left arm after about 10 to 15 seconds. You be watching TV, you can even read a book or play on your phone down in this position. We will start changing the hands as well, but right now let's just continue to work on the shoulder, cut over to the right side and cut over to the left side. We're gonna cut over to the right side. Cut over to the left side. Back to center. Let's reach the arms out in front of us, wide fingers on the ground, and we're going to work on pressing gently out of the hands. When I say gently, I want the fingers to maintain soft pressure. You really want to work the forearm muscles up into the core, and we're going to gently straighten the right elbow and the left elbow. And again, add a little cut over to the left and a little cut over to the right. Feeling the rib cage press down into the ground. feeling the chest and the shoulder rotate over to the right and over to the left. Shifting the weight over to the left hand, and then shifting the weight over to the right hand. In the legs, the toes are in gently, the heels are out gently, and we can start to also work on kind of connecting our brain to our leg muscles by straightening that right knee and straightening the left knee. Pointing the toes down, working on activating that right quad or left side, left knee raises. And again, we're going to lay on the ground, read, watch TV, play on the phone a little bit, start to work the leg muscles, and back up into the shoulders. We always want to work on softening the neck up. So driving down through the shoulder, really pulling that shoulder blade kind of back into us. Changing the hand position into a palms up grip. Palms down grip. As we work on this recovery exercise, we're going to be able to cut the head nice and easily over to the left side and over to the right side as the shoulder muscles develop better strength and stability. Back to center, press up high out of the hands, and let's tuck the right elbow in and then the left elbow in. And then we can work on the release of both elbows. The release is the out. Right elbow out, left elbow out. Loosen the neck up. Right elbow in, left elbow in. Drive left and drive right. Walk the hands back when you need to. And again, just start to gently work back on your cuts left and your head cut over to the right. Try to keep the neck nice and soft. And each of these positions can be held for 5 or 10 seconds. Or you can kind of move through them a little more quickly, a little more dynamically. So you can kind of get the shoulders to cut left, cut right? I like to pick a point out on the wall or on the, again, if you're focused on the TV or on your phone, you're kind of doubling up, getting a little bit of shoulder movement, getting a little bit of spine movement, and doing a little recovery work in this back extension position. Back to the legs. If we want to crank this up, crank the difficulty up, we're going to work on, again, straightening out that knee and kind of starting to roll back and look at that back left leg. And I want you to do this very gently. Press up through the left hand, tucking the left elbow. Look back at that left foot. Either heel out, or you can start to kind of roll around on the foot. And then we're going to come over to the right leg. We're going to raise up that right knee. We're just going to start to roll in and out. You may get some pretty intense cramps down into your leg as you rework your leg muscles and you activate them. So if you do get a cramp, just stretch through it. But try to get yourselves back in these positions. And as you work this leg movement here, it's going to help the hip and the low back. So we're going to start to roll up to the left. And just nice and easy, keep that hand flat. And try to start to roll that back leg around. And then we're going to transition gently over to the other side. And you can hang out here for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and just start to work at this rotation through the toes. You can see my foot, my toes are down and under. And we're just going to start to work that rotation over to the left and over to the right. Back to center. And just kind of start to shake the hips around on the ground, picking the left hip up, picking the right hip up, arching the spine up, rotating through the upper body. Raising the right knee, raising the left knee. Back to center, press the hands down. Just press up, roll the shoulders open, and keep those elbows tucked in nice and tight. We're going to start to work through that thoracic spine, head cut to the right, and head cut to the left. Left shoulder open, and then the right shoulder open. Bend down. Get those shoulders to roll and free up. You can hold each of these for 20 or 30 seconds if you want to. And we're going to get nice and strong in that back chain so we can hold ourselves up nice and easy. Left elbow in, right elbow in. Head up, chest up. Or arms out over front. And again, start to work into the head cut to the left and the head cut over to the right side right there. Finish here. This is a nice rest position. This is recovery workout.